Team of lawyers. Robert Shapiro, part of a team that defended O.J. Simpson in the murder case in which he was accused of ex-wife. Part of a team that defended O.J. Simpson in the murder case in which he was accused of ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman's murder. Simpson was acquitted, but later convicted for an armed robbery involving sports memorabilia in Las Vegas. Local lawyer John Phillips had a chance to spend some time with Robert Shapiro when Simpson was waiting to find out whether or not he would win his freedom. Morning, welcome back to the show. Good to have you here.
Thank you, thank you.
So, first of all, it had to be surreal.
It was surreal. We were riding in Shapiro's car going back to planning to go to lunch, and it was on the radio. And Shapiro turned it on. I'm like, I'm listening to the OJ parole hearing with Robert Shapiro. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and you know, as a lawyer, you know, it's often what people don't say that tells you more about what's going through their mind than what they do say. His body language, his whole demeanor. What did you think?
It was, and there was a lot that he said, some of which I'm not going to repeat. You know, I'd like that invitation to be back on his living room couch. But, you know, he had more to say about some of the reporters that covered his story than you know, necessarily O.J. himself. He hasn't spoken to O.J. in about 20 years.
In fact, I think O.J. still owes him some money.
That's
that may be part
the story.
of it. When you talk about the reporters who covered O.J., are you talking about the murder trial or the parole hearing?
A little bit of both. There's one particular reporter who not only covered the murder trial, but wrote a book about it. And, you know, anytime you've got a reporter writing kind of their narrative of things and making lots of money, of course, the active participants are going to be involved, you know.
Can you give me some insight into what he, you know, may have had an issue with, or what?
Probably not. You know, probably not my best divulge there. But just, you know, Bob's pretty you know, outspoken about not even liking the way John Travolta played him, and so, you know, you build this empire as a lawyer, and he's got a name brand, LegalZoom. Now he's got Right Counsel, and you know, when people smear that, or you know, we're all just trying to get by, and
he's got a business he's trying to protect.
Correct.
And his reputation, which is very interesting. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Does he think in some ways the punishment that was doled out for the crime in Las Vegas was a little harsher than it might have been under other circumstances?
Certainly. He's a criminal defense lawyer, and so everybody that did their analysis, from Gene Nichols here to, you know, to me before I left, to Shapiro, fully agreed that what O.J. did and the punishment that he got didn't necessarily fit the crime that he had been charged for, or the stay extended, so to speak, because of the other stuff.
And safe to say that he wasn't surprised that O.J. won his freedom at this parole hearing, because, I mean, the writing was on the wall because of what happened in 2013.
Correct. I don't think it was a surprise to anybody.
Does Robert Shapiro have any plans to eventually let his personal thoughts be known, perhaps when he retires? I mean, he's in his 70s, but I don't know if he has plans to retire.
I don't know. We spent most of the time, we were there because of Mohammed Hadid, this developer that overbuilt a house, an investment house. And so we spent most of the time talking about that. We certainly, while watching the O.J. hearing, talked about O.J., but, you know, there's kind of a manner when you're in a way to act, you know, when you're hanging out with somebody that doesn't necessarily want to be involved with O.J. Simpson anymore, and it's certainly not bring up O.J. Simpson anymore.
It's also interesting to note that among the members of both legal teams, a lot of them got out of the practice of law. I mean, Marcia Clark went on to write books. F. Lee Bailey basically went bankrupt. He lives atop a shop in Maine.
Right.
And some of the others, you know, Christopher Durden, who was on the other side of the fence, just had enough of it after the O.J. trial. Is there a reason that he stayed with it? He wasn't very frustrated?
He's really good, and people keep hiring him. And so when you're the it guy in California, you've got a pretty good business plan. And that was one of the main things that I wanted to do, is kind of, how do you learn longevity in this profession? We've had some success. You know, I've handled some high-profile cases here in Florida. And how do you maintain that? How do you go not being defined just as Jordan Davis family lawyer to a continued career? And, you know, his first case was Linda Lovelace when the porn industry was shown in theaters, and he came in and knocked a home run out. And, you know, now he's representing Kardashians and
once you get
everybody
that
else.
traction, you have everybody else who is somebody who wants you to represent them because they know that you've got a success record.
Correct.
John Phillips, thank you.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to share this interview, it'll be posted on news4jax.com about 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. Just look on the morning show page. And by the way, while you're on News4Jax, when Rich is in here to help you out, check out the radar because it's going to be changeable throughout the day, Rich.
Yes.